Sometimes it's a pinch me moment, to see Bobby in this position. It's just like, wow, we've actually made it. Someone who's been a champion for the moms. It's the moms who really are pushing the message.
So what would you say to a mom that's out there right now that doesn't have the background that you have, that hasn't been involved?
Start with your own family, right? Clean things up with your food, your diet, as best as you can. The things within your own home you can absolutely control. Know who your state senator and your representatives are. Get involved with voicing concerns. You don't have to be a professional to do it. Anyone, has a voice and can use it, and they will take notice.
Yeah.
And it will help move things.
Aimee, it's so good to be here with you. Thank you so much for joining me.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's been a great day here.
Yes, it has. Yes, it has. So many great faces, so much optimism, right? Aimee, the energy, the synergy, it's truly inspiring for all of us that are running on no sleep. It's all of the momentum and the great people in this fight that fuel us and keep us awake and thriving. So a lot to look forward to. I'd love for you to introduce yourself to our viewers, just a brief background and who you are, how you're involved.
Yeah. So I've been involved in the medical freedom movement for a very long time, starting before the birth of my first son, who's almost going to be 16, and just very inclined into natural health. But where I really kind of dug in with my activism and getting very active with the government and policy was after seeing California lose their religious exemption rights back in 2015. So I formed a nonprofit back then called the New York Alliance for Vaccine Rights, co-founded it with a couple of other great activists, and really just spent time educating people in our state about, do you even know who your state reps are? Do you know what bills are coming up, which ones are threatening your freedoms, and which ones we want to, push for and advocate for. And then I spent some time working directly for Robert F. Kennedy Jr. at Children's Health Defense, where I was Director of Communications. And I'm also a certified holistic health coach. And right now I'm working for the Global Wellness Forum, where I serve as executive director. So we are a nonprofit focused on health, wellness, policy reform, legislation, education, and outreach.
Yeah, so you've been in this for the long haul. It's been a grueling fight, a long one.
Yes.
How does it feel to get to this moment in time and in history?
Yeah, sometimes it's a pinch me moment, to see Bobby in this position. It's just like, wow, we've actually made it. Someone who's been a champion for the moms. Everyone knows the story about how Bobby came to understand the issues, especially when it comes to the dangers and the known risks of vaccines. It was just listening to moms. And here we are. It's the moms who really are pushing the message and forcing people to understand what is impacting our children and the health of our children. I'm a mom myself. I have 4 children, and this is why I do what I do, and I have been doing it for the past 16 years, is to create a better life for them and for everyone's children. And sadly, our children are just under assault, coming from all different, industries. So from the terrible foods that are fed to many children, the food additives, the dyes, the chemicals, to what's in our skies, the air we're breathing.
Set up to fail.
Yeah, what they're spraying, what's happening with the pollution that affects our environment, our bodies, obviously vaccines and kind of medical industry. And really it's about just getting back to the roots and a paradigm shift in terms of how we treat health. And it's just amazing to see that Bobby's now in this position, powered by the people. This is, what we
powered by the Mama Bears.
Yeah, and the Mama Bears, the MAHA moms.
Yeah, exactly.
The original OGs of the medical freedom movement too.
That's right.
Just people who really want to see a better world for their children and want to make impact. And now we're seeing that starting at the federal government, but it also starts at home.
It starts local.
In our community.
Everything
starts in our states.
That's right. That's right. As far as the MAHA Commission and having all of that work, having the President of the United States, Secretary Kennedy, half of the cabinet members all come together to share this love of country, love of our children. What does that mean to you, and what are you hoping that we discuss at that meeting?
Yeah. Well, it's just amazing to see the commitment from President Trump with Bobby by his side and that unity they formed.
Unity party.
I remember the day in August when Bobby announced he was going to be joining with him, and that's like a moment I will never forget. And that electric moment when he walked out on stage and just seeing the power between the two of them with a shared value to reduce chronic disease in this country and to improve health, and especially for our children. And I know Bobby well. I've worked for him before at Children's Health Defense. I know his heart. And to see this play out, and you hear him say he prayed every day and what he could do to improve health. And here we are, and it's happening. And it doesn't happen overnight. There's a lot of people who want to see change immediately and want to, see lots of aggressive changes right away. We have to realize, the government works a little slow. A lot of times you have to shift public perception as well, right? It's pulling on the hearts and the minds of the public as they're doing the important hard work on the inside, getting the right people in the right places within the government departments, heads of agencies, and it's all coming together. Yeah. But it's an amazing time to be alive, to be a part of that. And for everyone to do their part, right? So what you're doing within your own community, what you do within your own home, with your own school, within your church.
So what would you say to a mom that's out there right now that doesn't have the background that you have, that hasn't been involved, but that's seeing this movement grow and they want a better future for their children? Mm-hmm. What would your advice be to them?
Well, start with your own family, right? Clean things up with your food, your diet, as best as you can. The things within your own home, you can absolutely control. And so that's an area that everyone can dig in and learn how to, raise children in a healthier way with the food that they're eating, reducing their toxic exposure, reducing screen time, getting them outside, fresh air, sunlight, all of that. But most importantly is also to plug in within your local government and your state government. So, know who your state senator and your representatives are. Get involved with voicing concerns, go to your county commissioner meetings, speak out on issues, and even within the state house. And you don't have to be a professional to do it. Anyone, has a voice and can use it. And a lot of time with these government representatives, they just hear from, a handful of people on certain issues. It's a big deal to them. Yeah. They will take notice. And it will help move things. So in the state of Florida, we just passed landmark legislation.
That's
we are now the first state to criminalize weather modification and geoengineering. So it now is a felony in the state of Florida, punishable up to 5 years in prison with a $100,000 fine. And we had huge grassroots engagement. So almost 100,000 emails were sent within a 2-month legislative period demanding that this bill pass, and lots of people going up to testify. I went up to Tallahassee myself a few times, many people, just voicing concerns of what exactly actually happening with our skies. What are we seeing right now? How are we, being polluted
and then the fluoride.
And then the fluoride, we're the second state in the country to ban fluoride following Utah.
Also massive, And I think for these parents, who sometimes get discouraged by the censorship, of course, the level of cancel culture that we're seeing and that we've witnessed in the past few years, but just overall thinking that they're just one voice. You're never just one voice.
Right.
And look at the amount of headway that we've already made. There's power in numbers. Exactly. And I think moms like yourself are such a perfect example of that. So thank you so much for the work that you're doing. Big fan of the Global Wellness Forum, so happy that you're a part of that, and we'll be following you along.
Great, thank you.
Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, appreciate it.